Today we learn about the infection control practices and what we need to know. What is disease? A disease is any deviation from a condition of good health and well-being. What is an infectious disease? A disease condition caused by the presence or growth of infectious microorganisms or parasites. What is a communicable disease? A disease that can be transmitted from one individual to another is known as communicable. Now let us see the various modes of transmission of diseases. Physical or direct contact. The diseases spread through this mode are syphilis, gonorrhea and scabies. The indirect contact. Through droplets, air and dust. It spreads when an infected person coughs, sneezes or even talks. He spreads droplets containing diseased germs. The germs are extremely small and light in weight and may remain suspended in the air for hours or may be resuspended in dust. Fomites. The articles contaminated with disease germs from an infected person may become vehicles of the disease. The materials commonly involved are contaminated clothing, bed linen and eating utensils, door handles, washroom surfaces, etc. Insects like flies, fleas, mosquitoes, ticks, mites and lice. Mosquito biting, flies and insects on food are also a possible source of transmission. Even water and food are possible sources of transmission. Raw fish, improperly cooked meat and poultry are the common modes. The contamination of the food or water with feces or other infectious material may also pose a health hazard. As seen in the picture, various flies are the sources of disease transmission. The common disease transmitted by contaminated food or water are typhoid fever, infectious hepatitis, cholera, dysentery, and food poisoning. Next transmission is through contact. It may be either person-to-person touch or direct or indirect contact. It can be transmitted by inanimate objects like needles and unwashed hands. The airborne transmission. Tiny particles with a size of less than 5 microns are evaporated in air or on the dust particles. They can stay suspended in air for long periods of time and can be inhaled by a susceptible host and thus cause infection. Now, some methods of prevention. First, personal hygiene. Proper sanitation practices applicable to food handling. Third is water purification. Control of flies and mosquitoes is also important. Who all need to worry? Everyone have their hands dirty, and especially those who may come into contact with blood or other body fluids. As this picture depicts a typical life cycle of a diseased germ, it continues through the body of the human being and through the intestine, moves into the anal region where it is transmitted through feces. With what to wash? Alcohol-based gels or hand washing with antimicrobial soap or liquid hand wash is advised. When do we need to wash? Always before and after eating, after returning from any hospital or a clinic, after driving in pollution, before and after contact with infectious things like blood and other body fluids, and even patient contact. Now let us understand, why is there a fuss about hand hygiene? The most common mode of transmission of pathogens is via hands. Hand hygiene is the main measure at controlling and preventing infections. Jewelry and artificial nails further complicate hand hygiene. Now some personal hygiene methods. Fingernails should be kept short and frequent cleaning of nails with soap and water is advised. Always washing hands before and after eating food. Artificial nails and long natural nails have been linked to the disease transmission as they complicate hygiene of the hands. The artificial nails are a breeding place for millions of bacteria and germs. This picture shows a step-by-step procedure to wash hands properly. Don't forget to wash between your fingers, under your nails and the tops of your hands. The factors affecting the effectiveness of hand washing. First is friction. This is important to physically dislodge the microbes. Second, water, which washes bacteria from the surface and down the drain. Third is soap or detergent. This is important to loosen the bacteria. And fourth is temperature. Hot water has proven to be more effective than cold water in hand washing. Now some daily hygiene practices. First is bath daily. Use clean clothes and linen. Proper ventilation and air circulation is also necessary. Now let us understand why droplet transmission is important. Droplets through cough, sneeze, talking, suctioning or even singing. They can also involve direct or indirect contact. Respiratory hygiene and cough etiquettes. The cough droplets can travel up to at least 3 feet from the patient's mouth, as seen from the picture. One should always use tissues and alcohol hand gels post sneezing. Cover mouth when coughing and dispose the tissues properly. One should always cover with hands while sneezing or a handkerchief and clean thereafter. Routine environmental disinfection and cleaning are also very important. Thus, in summarizing, I would conclude that the prevention of infection lies entirely in our own hands. Thank you for listening patiently.